Hi, it's me again with Corel Roll Tips and Tricks, and I just did this in part one. So now we're going to do part two and hopefully embellish it a little bit. So what we're going to do first, and what I'm also going to do, I'm going to do what I tell everybody to do, is to make a copy of your ornament. Just in case you go too far, then you always got something to go back on. But let's take all this text and let's left click, right click. Now, we'll go ahead and make it a hairline. We'll leave it in black for right now just so we'll know the difference. Now, in the previous video, I enlarged the ring and made the wood strength a little bit better. But now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the Smart Fill tool, set on black. Well, take it back. Whoop. We need to fix a couple of things first with these letters that aren't touching. So what we're going to do, no, we don't want to do that. We want to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in and nudge it over, fill that in and nudge it over, fill that in and nudge it over. And one thing this does do, it lets you know what's not touching, like the letters that aren't touching. But we're going to keep that like that. Now, let's fix this to make it stronger. And we're going to grab that, let's zoom in here. Whoop. We're going to grab that node of that A with the shape tool. And it'd almost be better if there were some more nodes by it because we're going to mess it up a little bit, but we can delete that node and possibly delete that node. And then let's go ahead and do what we did in the previous video. I don't really like the way that came out. Let's try this. Let's don't do that. Let's go up here and break this apart, break the curve apart. Let's take this part. I didn't mean to do that. Let's leave it all the same. Now let's just take it and see if this will work. Let's go up to Effects and Contour. Contour to the outside. I'm going to 0.2 and let's see what happens. Whoa, way too big. 0.02. And what that did, it filled in our letters. I think this is the way we're going to go. We're not even going to do that right there. Now, I like that. Now let's take the sisterhood, do the same thing. Wow, that's going to look good. Now let's forget about what I said to do here, because now we've joined all our letters. Make sure we get the zoom tool. And we are going to go ahead and select it all, and we're going to break the contour apart, so break the four objects apart. Now, we're going to take our Smart Fill tool and fill that in. That'll work. Fill that in and fill that in and fill that in. We're filling in the inside. Now, the heart is going to be the only part that messed up. Now we need to, because we've ungrouped everything, with the pick tool, we should be able to grab the inside and hit delete, and we still have an outside. Now, this is going to be our weld, so we need to fix that right there. We need to fix this right here. And by enlarging it with the contour tool, I didn't quite get that. We really need this for strength, so we're going to go and just kind of mess it up a little bit, but it should still work. And then right here, and right here, and right here, and right here. That gives us plenty of strength. Let's look at our two letters here. Yes, that's good. Gives us more strength up and down. Let's look at the T. That's an awful big cut, or really too close together. So let's grab the shape tool and just put that in together and just cut that out too. You don't want things that are just too close to cut. I think it looks good. Now what we need to do is go ahead and bring our object back in and take our Smart Fill tool. This time we'll set it on yellow. Let's set it on brown and make it look like the wood. Wow, that looks good. Now let's nudge it over and let's left click, right click, make sure it's a hairline. So double click on your pen tool and go hairline, and that's going to be your cut line. Now we're going to bring the font back in and look at that. Now this ornament, depending on how many you're making, is going to take a lot longer. I need to fix the heart. But when I did the video, you could see what I did wrong. And that doesn't look bad. But this is going to take a lot longer to engrave because now you have to engrave it and cut it. But your end result is really going to stand out. Because if we fill this with wood color, and then actually the inside parts with a wood color, I mean, look at that. That's what it's going to look like. Now, like I said, it's going to take a lot more to do it like that. But the other way we could do it, it makes it a little bit, maybe a little bit harder, would be able to, let's back up one more. And let's go here and make left click. And I'm going to right click it in black and also in hairline. Okay. Now let's take everything off the screen. And let's nudge this back. Now, it's a little more difficult, but it'll be a lot faster than engraving it on that piece. What I would suggest to do, let's say this is your, let's say you have a whole piece of wood in your laser. I'm going to move this over just a hair. And you need to kind of do it in this order. I would take our red line and nudge it off the screen. Of course, I really want to fix that heart, but don't have time. Then vector engrave this. If you're using 1/8 inch plywood, which is going to be your strongest, or even real wood, you're going to cut this at like 10 or 15 or 5 speed, whatever your laser does. Cut this at 100 power at like 50 speed, so fast it can't cut through. And then actually nudge it out of the way to the top, nudge this back, and then cut this out at your normal power and speed. 100 power at 5 speed, 10 speed, whatever your laser cuts. The reason you want to do this first is if these pieces start falling out, and even little pieces, and they blow, on your sheet, or your laser bed isn't level, or isn't, got a little warpage to it, and this falls, then this is not going to be in focus. So if you do that first on the flat sheet of wood, and then cut this out second, you'll be way above the curve. And this won't take, I bet you that could, where this might take, that's only 2 inches tall. Well, the whole thing, let's see what the whole thing is. The whole thing's less than 2.5 inches tall. This is still going to take a minute or two to engrave, where it would only take a couple of seconds to vector engrave it. But just go really high power and pretty fast speed, like 50 speed, and it'll just mark that, and it will look like that and kind of make the text stand out. Because where we've cut this out, the Y is showing, the A is showing, the S is showing, all the parts of the letter are showing now. I think you'll be way above and make a really nice ornament. I hope that helped. Thank you for watching.